how'd you end up meeting Chris?
I think I met him through Angie. You know, wasn't Angie his sister? Yeah, so we went to school together. So I met him, and I think me and Roland were doing a two-piece band. It was me on drums and Roland on guitar. And then I think he mentioned to me, and then we had a bass player named Jerry Law. So we were a trio for a while, but then he fell off, the trio guy. And I think Roland mentioned something about Chris. And next thing you know, I had moved from drums to bass, and the blend was born. 82, something like that.
See, I didn't know about the other guy.
Yeah, Jerry Law.
Jerry Law. I didn't
Yeah.
hear about him.
I think we had another name back then. It was Black Mountain Stash was the name before we went to the blend. We also had some jams in my garage beforehand. Marshall Roach, who's passed, used to jump in on some of those jams, and Monty Yoho of the Outlaws used to come over sometimes. But yeah, that's how it started. The beginning.
Yeah, I think I've heard the Monty Yoho thing. He's big into Outlaws. My dad.
We were too. The blend, we loved them. We did a lot of their stuff.
Really?
Some epic stuff too. We had some epic songs there.
We kind of already talked about this, but just for video, how did the blend get started?
Well, like I said, we had all come from different situations, and we finally got together for a jam, and we liked it a lot. So then the second jam came along, and then next thing you know, it was three, and we started to think, or right around there, we started to think, okay, maybe we should try to find some gigs. And we did find one at Squire's, you know, in South Tampa. That's the first place we played, and we played there solidly every weekend for, I want to say 3 to 5 years. I forgot how long, but we had great crowds there. It was crazy. We just really, really had a tight trio then. We were just really tight. One time we practiced for like, I want to say that we went 12, 14 hours in practice one day, and we had rented or let somebody else use their clubhouse. I forgot, it was somewhere off 30th Street, and we rehearsed there, and that was when we became a band that day. And one day we said, wow.
All right, what was it like recording in a music studio versus playing live at a gig?
Well, at a gig, in the recording studio, it's kind of sterile at times. You know, your energy comes strictly from the music and when you're creating. Whereas when you play in a club with a band, you have the energy, the audience feeding you. So there's two different driving forces. In the studio, it's creativity, and on the road or in venues, it's from the people. And it's back and forth. It's a synergy that works like that. Pretty cool.
Tell me about Crystal Blue and what Chris's affiliation was with the band.
Well, you know, I'm not sure how long Chris played with us. I think he may have been the original drummer. I don't remember. Something happened along the way where I'm trying to forget who we replaced. I don't know. I do remember the band Quadra Blue. Okay, this was a spin-off of Crystal Blue. And that was Chris on drums, Andy on keyboards, me on guitar, and Marshall Roach also on guitar. And we played one gig, and it was during the No Name Storm of, I forgot what year it was. So I think it was after that we went a different direction. You know, we both went different directions. I'm not really sure. Chris might remember that better than I do as far as how that went down. 90 and 91 started Crystal Blue. So I think that's what it was. I decided to do duo gigs. So I didn't work with any of those guys anymore because I was going for duo gigs. I seen Bill Jones do it with his partner Daryl Delk, who's passed since then. And they used to go and play at the Surfside, and they used to create their tracks to play alongside them. And I found that really intriguing. Bill had a bunch of gear he was bringing over one time that he got from somewhere. He bought it from somebody in a truck. And there was a little square piece that looked like an adding machine. It was called a sequencer. And that's how they sequenced the songs, the tracks and stuff. And I got enamored with it and went crazy. And then we were the duo. You know, the duo, like I said, took 4 or 5 versions of it before it became a band.
I think that's how it is, man. Usually you just go through phases, you know, like people, it's like not interchangeable, but people come and go and
Yeah.
different members fill in, you know.
It's like that, you know, anywhere. I mean, even the pros that are out there,
Yeah.
they have their own stuff too. Look at the Eagles, how many fights they've had through the years. Yes, they always pull it back together.
What would you say makes Chris stand out from other drummers?
Chris has got the mojo, man. He's got the passion. You know, he's always hyped. Every time he was on stage, he had that look of confidence, and he knew what he was doing up there. He was he was a busier drummer, but he got away with it. A lot of drummers don't get away with it, but Chris did. He knew what more was more. I mean, he took less is more to more is more, because he knew when to, you know, calm it down. He didn't have a fill everywhere, so he's a special drummer and a very underrated singer. He sang a lot of stuff that was really up there high. I think he sang Who's Right or Wrong or something like that. There was a few like that. And so, you know, he's one of the best musicians I've ever played with. I'd say a top 3 to top 5. And still, we still had the pocket when I went to his house a few weeks ago. It's like we never stopped. That's what happens, though. When you get in that energy, that synergy feeds off each other, and memories just pop right back in.
Do you have a favorite memory of a gig or maybe a time that sticks out from the years of playing with Chris?
And you know, all of the stuff that we done at the club I mentioned earlier, that was just an epic time. Let me think about that a minute. I don't know. I think that just, we didn't play a lot of places, but we were one of the first trios out there that sounded like a 5-piece band. I don't know how we did that, but the ZZ Top stuff, we sound like ZZ Top, you know. So I think that's what separated us, you know. And I think that's what we also had a little bit of you know, anxiety about bringing anybody else in. We didn't want to mess up that culture. We were brothers. We fought, you know. We did everything together, and so it's hard to pinpoint one thing. All I know is that when we took the stage, I haven't experienced anything like it since.
I got some photos I'll have to probably send your way too from the early 80s. I don't know if you have all that stuff, but it's a couple of band shots, and there's one of like you, Marshall, my dad, Manuel.
Well, yeah.
I don't remember where it was taken at, but...
Well, we used to have some epic parties in the cave. You heard about the cave?
No.
Okay,
I probably have, but...
I lived in Tampa, a place called Mondragon. It's kind of like... I'm trying to figure out how to tell you where it was, but it was somewhere along Gun Highway.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a lot of history with the blend. And because we used to have these jam sessions. It was a garage, one car garage that I completely, you know, got rid of the windows and treated the walls. We used to call it the cave. And we used to have man day at the caves where no women were allowed. We just came and make steaks, drink some beers, jam. And then we just became like good brothers. It was like a brotherhood.
That's
very cool. And I know we talk about it all the time, even to this day. Your dad and I, you know, talk about, you know, the cave.
See, that's the good thing about doing stuff like this, man. It gets all those memories and
absolutely. It's you know,
that's what I'm hoping
it's
to
alive
do.
Inside.
How would you feel about a blend reunion?
I would absolutely love it. If there was some way to get rolling here and do that, I would do it in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even require pay. I just would do it. That would be amazing. I would want to rehearse one time to do maybe 12, 15 songs, and that would be phenomenal. I'd be 100% for it.
What would you say, if anything, his legacy is?
Chris?
Yeah.
Chris is a survivor and a fighter, and he has a heart of gold. You know, that's hard to do when you've been through what Chris Kidd has been through. You know, and he's just got a way of speaking his truth. He tells it like it is, whether you like it or not. And I love one of his favorite things that he does all the time, long story short. I hear that all the time. I always thought we should have a song. That just came to me right now. We should write a new song together, get rolling down here in the blend, and actually record a song. That is that title right there, you know. Long story short.
All right. In closing, man, just look here, just like you're talking to him, and if there's anything you'd like to say to him directly.
Well, Chris, kid, I can tell you, we've had an amazing years of doing music, and reuniting here lately made me realize that we're not done. If you're not dead, you're not done. See you soon, brother.